Okay. Hi, everyone. So welcome back to another live stream with BYOB, and I'm Arnold. I'm here with Tom today.
Hi, guys.
So guys, please say hi. This is not going to be a webinar where we just talk at you guys for like an hour, which is going to be super boring for everyone. So please say hi in the chat so we know you can hear us. Hi, everyone. Hi, Tobias. Hi, Laura. Catherine, hi. Thank you for the heart. Appreciate it. Hi, Sam. Hi, everyone. So we always like to ask where everyone's tuning in from because we always get loads of people from different countries. And you know what, like that's probably the best part about having a lockdown in a pandemic is that we actually get to talk to a lot of different people from loads of different countries. And, you know, it's really cool because I think maybe normally people wouldn't tune into something like this if it was really late or really early for them. But now people are used to the idea of being on camera and talking to people on camera. I think it's made kind of a live stream thing like even more prominent. Yeah. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, it's amazing to see as well that there's so many people around the world with an interest in China. That certainly wasn't the case 20 odd years ago, I think, when I decided that I was going to go and eventually study Chinese at university. And my mum started taking cuttings out of the newspaper to collect anything to do with China that was in the newspaper. And
she would be cutting for a long time these days.
Yeah, I used to get one cutting a week, and then I think she gave up when it started to be 20 a day. So yeah, clearly a massive interest for reaching Chinese audiences, not just in China, but also the 70 million Chinese that live around the world now.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say hi to a few people. Hi, Grace. Hi, Aaron. Claudia. Hi from Ireland. I remember speaking to you. So Louisa is actually in Ireland right now as well. And also Jen, our performance director. It must be a hot spot for tourism. Uska, hi. Sabrina, hi. Oh, Yume, also from Ireland. We got the Irish contingency on here. Warren, hi. Jocelyn, nice to see you again. Good to see a familiar name. Naomi, hi. Hi, Natalie. We're going to do a few polls to start off with. Those of you that come to BYOB will know that we always try to start with some polls. So before I do that, the results from the current poll, it looks like most of you guys are dialing in from Europe, 37 from Europe, 37 from UK. So very much European. But it's really great to see some people also from some people. It's really great to see one person also dialing in from China. So that person, please say hi. And thank you for dialing in. And two people from the US as well. So the early and the late people. Hi, Catherine from Spain. We also got Muller from Belgium. Welcome. Cheng Ho from Paris. Welcome to the live stream. So the second poll, I think most of you will be ticking yes for this one. We want to know whether you guys have been to China before. Yes or no? Poll is coming on screen right now. Come on, guys. Everyone vote. Most of you, yes. Simona from Italy. Hello. Miranda. Good to see you, Miranda. Fancy seeing you here. Grace from Singapore. Hi, everyone. Gilbert, not been to China. You're missing out, my friend. You need to get yourself down to China. Well, maybe not right now because actually maybe now because it's like one of the safest places in the world to escape from the pandemic.
Yeah. That
and Ireland, apparently.
2 weeks in quarantine in a hotel, eating Chinese food. Can't be too bad.
Exactly. It's a shame you can't order stuff online because I think I would go if I could order food as well as get food provided to me from the hotel. Okay, so really great. Most of you have been to China. 76% of you have been to China. Only 13%, 7 haven't been to China. And 9% says you plan to go in 2021. You and me both. I'm also planning to go in 2021. Tom also, I'm sure. So hopefully we can all get there in 2021. Laura from Germany, hello. Louisa, we have another German in the live stream. That's awesome. Annalisa, hello. Yes, now China is safer than everywhere else. Yes, you're right. I agree. Nicholas, hi from Switzerland. Next poll. We will get to some actual content, but we just really want to break the room and get you guys like talking and get you voting. So let us know if you are currently doing business in China. Poll is coming on screen right now. Yes or no? Or planning to, I guess, the final answer. Vote away, guys. Come on. Vote. You have the power. Yay, Germany missing mulled wine. Louisa, should we tell people about our Christmas party and how we cook mulled wine Tom, in the kettle. Guys, what do you think? I want you to know. I want you to put it in the chat. Yeah, I mean, a work do. Do you guys want to? That's so wrong. Do you guys tell us in the chat whether we should cook mode 1 in the kettle or not? If it's because we didn't have a pan, so is that a good idea, or was it like a terrible sin to cook mode 1 in a kettle?
Or a fire hazard.
Or a fire hazard. Bad idea, Nicholas. Oh man, Nadia, creative decision. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Is it not always in a kettle? Natalia, creativity. Annalisa, I love mulled wine. Go ahead, cook it in the kettle. Yes, come on, guys. I think majority of you are with us on our very creative RP kettle. So actually, my girlfriend came in the other day because she works in the office sometimes, and she was like, I had some boiling water and it tastes like there's some squash in it. And then I was like, no, it's because we cooked mulled wine in it. So there was some like residue flavor. Anyway, so most of you, 54% of you are doing business in China, 32% are not, and 14% are planning to. Great. It's awesome to hear. You're thinking along the right lines. And then we got a few more polls. So the next one is, are you familiar with Chinese New Year? Yes or no? I'm going to say most of you are, but because this webinar, oh no, I used the W word. Because this live stream is about Chinese New Year, so we just want to get an idea of whether you guys are familiar with it and what you know about it, so we can, I guess, structure the conversation around how much you guys know about it. Oscar, you're in London. Make hot gin today. Hot gin? What's that?
Well, I'm definitely not putting gin in the kettle.
Is hot gin a thing?
You can have, yeah, I guess you can have any alcohol hot.
Hot, okay. I never had that.
I'd rather have sake.
Oh yeah, sake. Sake is good hot. Laura, actually, Italian, enjoying. Sorry, I really can't pronounce some of these words. Tom, can you? As long as you don't boil it, it's all good. Yeah, as long as you're right. Maybe, yeah, we shouldn't have boiled it.
Hot gin toddy. That one.
No, this one. Italian in.
Oh, Leipzig.
What's
Based
that?
in Germany.
Oh, cool. I have Chinese blood, but Malaysian ume. We're all the same. We're all the same. It's okay. Are you familiar with China? Okay, so most of you, only 3 of you have not really heard about Chinese New Year. That's really great. But I'm surprised 3 of you have not heard about Chinese New Year. Who are you guys? Type in the chat. We'll make sure we speak to you guys directly. And by the end of this event, you will know exactly what Chinese New Year is. Next one, the penultimate one. What zodiac animal is 2021? Quiz. No clue. Oh, look, we got little emojis. That's so cool. Thank you, Emily and Louisa. Very cute little emojis. Oh, guys, most of you are getting this, smashing this question. Come on. Careful. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes to vote. Jocelyn, I'm Malaysian from KL. Nice to meet you here. Oh, look. You guys got some like fellow countrymen. Lao Xiang. Michael, let me just Google. I love your resourcefulness. You guys can Google, of course. It's if it's available, use it. That's what I think.
Oh, Gilbert from Uganda, incredible. People in Africa joining us as well.
So cool. I love it. Okay, so the answer is ox, and 79% of you got it right. Really great. Well done, guys. Some of you said goat. Some of you said, quite a few of you said snake, actually. Which year was snake? I don't know.
Not a while ago.
I don't know. I don't know. Paulina, ox, because we will all come back stronger than ever after. Yes, I love that. You're right. We fucking will. Sorry, pardon my French. It's a great comment. So the final poll is that we would like to know, have you ever experienced Chinese New Year in China? And this is a very important question because it's a very different, and our first video that we're going to show you, and you guys know, you signed up, like we're basically going to watch a bunch of Chinese New Year ads and talk to you guys about it. The first one is really only something that people have experienced Chinese New Year in China in a specific time period. Will have the kind of like nostalgia feeling that they'll get from the video, but I'll go into the details later. We'll go into the details later anyway. What was 2020? Domesticate animal for sure. What was 2020? Zodiac.
Rats, I believe.
Was it rat?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was rat.
Yeah, it was rap.
Yes, thank you, audience.
Thank you, Emily, Grace. Malika. Laura, actual Chinese Year in Taiwan and Malaysia was much more festival. Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, you're probably right. I mean, I've never actually experienced in those countries, but China, because of the fast economic growth, is like a lot less celebrated in China now because everyone's so busy working. People are getting more globalized as well. Okay, so half of you have experienced, almost half of you experienced in China, the other half haven't. Those of you who have experience in China, tell us, what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's better in China? I mean, I guess it would be, right? But is it something that you remember and you really want to experience again? David, hello, yes. Only one time in Beijing around 2017. At that time, the firework was still allowed, but not anymore. Yeah, I mean, that's another sad thing as well. I remember we used to have those firecrackers when I was a kid. They were awesome. We used to get these like massive long ones that would be like a few meters, and you would light them and it would go off for ages and be super loud and piss everyone off. But everyone was happy because it's Chinese New Year. So it's really great. Okay, cool. So thank you guys. Thanks for the poll answers and thank you for the comments. I don't know, Tom, do you want to introduce?
Yeah, I would say that one of the reasons that we really wanted to do a live stream showing the videos that we've kind of put together for you all is largely that we've been doing Chinese New Year campaigns for best part of a decade in different parts of the world. So not just in China for the Chinese audience, but also in other markets. And we're very fortunate that we actually got to rebrand Chinatown in London and do a lot of kind of great work in introducing, I guess, Chineseness to a Western audience. One of the things that we definitely discovered there was, I think a lot of stereotypes, cliches that kind of existed, not just around Chinese New Year, but just around China and what it meant to kind of communicate Chinese values to an international audience. So we always felt like doing that through video was one of the strongest mediums to do that in. And we've always kind of had a passion for digging out emotional Chinese TVC ads, laughing, crying sometimes. And what we find is that the great ads really seem to drill into those cultural tensions. And that's something that we kind of wanted to go through and share that with you all as a great way to introduce how not just a video campaign, but any campaign that you're trying to do to win over Chinese audiences, how can you do that authentically to get that resonance?
Yeah, exactly. And it's very difficult actually because Chinese New Year had changed so much over the last couple of decades. Like what authenticity is a couple of decades ago might be different to what it is now and how it's celebrated. So guys, keep talking. I see some really cool comments. Laura, as a foreigner, it's not great. Most places are closed. That's so true as well. So if you're not hanging out with a Chinese family, I know someone here mentioned it. Who was it? Claudia said you spent it at a Chinese family. You're right. That's absolutely the key. If you are thinking of going to China for Chinese New Year, don't unless you're going to hang out with family because Laura is right. Not Laura. Laura is right. Everything will be closed. You're just going to be pretty boring over Chinese New Year, basically. So should we move on? Should we show the first video?
Yeah,
guys? We're going to show you the first video. All right, actually, let's go through the agenda first. Thanks, Emily and Louisa. So, Qumin, welcome. I believe we've done that.
I'd say we've done that.
I think we've done that. I'm sorry, we're just kind of like, we felt it's better to just kind of have a chat with you guys really and not really try to make it too structured. Essence of CNY, we talked about that. And we'll talk more about it as we watch the videos as well. So yeah, let's get started. Let's get started with the screening. Please make sure you ask questions, ask during the time. Any time is okay. And yeah, sorry, there's loads of slides. You know what? I probably should have clicked through these, but it's okay. I think you guys are enjoying it so far. Yeah. Thumbs up if you are. Ume, Claudia. Yes, Malik. Thank you guys. Loving it. All right, let's watch some ads. How crazy is that we're watching ads? But yeah, let's do it. Let's watch these ads. Let's go with the first one. That I guess I need to. Oh, sorry. Actually, I need to probably select this.
All right.
Share now. Nope. Nope. What am I doing? Guys, sorry, forget about that. Yes. I'm gonna mute my mic. All right, cool. So, guys, we just want to give you a bit of background about that video. So, first of all, yeah, they are the Beijing Opera masks. Someone said kabuki masks. I had to ask Tom what that meant because I didn't know.
Japanese theatre actually, but so, those were Beijing Opera masks.
Okay, yeah, they were Beijing Opera masks. So, Michelle, good question. What is the meaning of the masks?
So funnily enough, this campaign, they're not all by us. This one, to caveat, is.
What? Really? It's amazing.
and interestingly enough, we actually got the brief, or were told that we'd won the work to do this for Barcelona Football Club while I was shooting a Chinese New Year ad for Manchester United. I was actually at Old Trafford when that happened, which I thought was very serendipitous.
Trader.
So the masks, actually, each mask represents a different virtue. So there was a piece of work that was done. This campaign was, I wouldn't call it fully integrated, but it did live on other channels. And we involved one of the Beijing art colleges through partnership that Barcelona had with them. And all of the art schools, in partnership with the players, designed their own Beijing opera masks. And they were based around, each mask had its own virtues. So what we actually did is then try to bring that to life in the animation. So the idea of incorporating the masks was to connect it to these real world masks that were actually painted by the players. So there was actually content that we could create with the players that lived on social media that also supported the main video campaign as well.
Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Michelle, what the meaning of masks was. Warren, award-winning, I believe. Yes, it is award-winning. Thank you for asking. So we want to talk a bit about the insights and the rationale of this ad, because that's always what we find the most interesting. And because we made this one, we can be really specific about it. So the reason we made this, if you noticed, actually, this is less an ad about how Chinese New Year is celebrated, more about the preparation of Chinese New Year. So you have like the kid running around in the house, and that's very important. The kid running around in the house, and he kind of like gets pushed around. He gets caught up in the hustle and bustle, or in Chinese, we call like the renou, like the renou of Chinese New Year, right? Like when you have people coming together, everything's like super atmospheric. But the kid always gets left out. He gets pushed around when people are making dumplings. He falls over, trips on some red packets. Oh, imagine tripping on red packets. That would be the day. But the point here is, like, we thought we'd focus rather on the celebration itself, but more on the preparation of the celebration. And when I was growing up, so what we focused on actually was what we like to call the golden age of Chinese New Year. And that's kind of around the late 80s and maybe the early 90s. For me, it was when China was essentially wealthy or economically stable enough to celebrate how they would like to celebrate. So with eating as much as possible, taking days off, hanging out with your family, your uncles, sisters, brothers, parents, playing mahjong all night, but also not so economically developed in the sense that they cannot celebrate anymore because they're so busy working. And I think that's kind of like the before and after, right? Before then, during maybe before kind of like the 80s, China wasn't as wealthy or as developed as they are in the late 80s and early 90s. And after that, China has been so globalized, a lot of the culture, and this is often like a sacrifice of kind of like cultural heritage against economic development. And I think that's happened in Chinese New Year a lot. So when I was young, it was like the best time, right? Like whenever there's Chinese New Year, all of my uncles and aunts would come to my grandparents' house. It was like a really small house as well, only 2 or 3 bedrooms. But it was so crazy busy. It was so fun. Like everyone was cooking. Everyone was like doing fireworks. Me and my cousins would go out and play and climb trees. Like we had nothing, right? I had no toys, no PlayStation, no consoles, no PC. But it was like the best time because it was just like so present. Like we would like go out and play hide and seek and just do like random shit while the adults are cooking. And then I remember like we used to allow to stay up all night because adults are playing mahjong with each other. It was crazy. Like I remember clearly my uncle and aunts would like switch shifts. So the mahjong table would be going like permanently. Like they would play a mahjong for a bit and then sleep and then someone would tag in and then carry on playing. It was just like, oh man, those times, it was just so real and so fun and so raw. And honestly, I really miss it. So when I watched this video, I remember the time when everyone would get together. And now, like, you guys see this all the time in ads. People will see a few ads later that people are not getting together as much anymore because people are so busy working in the cities. And it's just not the same anymore. Yeah. So
it's always great to hear you talk about like your childhood and that, because I experienced it obviously later in life in my sort of late teens, celebrating in places like Qingdao, Nanjing, and yeah, just the busyness of it all and how much work and preparation goes into it. But it's ultimately like it's the opportunity for families to come together. So no different to pretty much most festivals around the world, whether it's Christmas or Ramadan. Like it's all about, you know, that kind of raw family connection, which is where video is obviously a great way to bring that emotion out. And one of the key challenges is always, how do you position the brand into these moments in an authentic way? And that was obviously our challenge with Barcelona, because Barcelona are not Chinese, and actually as a sport, football isn't actually played very much in China. There's a lot of people that consume it and watch it, engage with it, but it doesn't have a huge number of people that participate in it. So there is no authenticity necessarily around playing football at Chinese New Year. So we had to be somewhat creative with that aspect, but the focus on the ball was actually more about the things that sport does do, and the thing that football do is in bringing people together.
Exactly.
And that was really that kind of element of that, the child not necessarily feeling neglected by his parents, but as a single child in a really busy environment, still wanted to have fun and play. And actually for a lot of people that travel back to rural places for Chinese New Year, they are kind of on their own, and rather than sticking their head in computer games, we actually wanted to show them going out there and mingling with other kids. And then that kind of triggers this whole explosion of color.
And I guess that's another thing as well, right? Like people with computers and mobiles, like people tend to just be very isolated even during this festival period. And I think the final thing is probably because of one child policy. Like we don't have big families anymore, right? Like when I was young, I had loads of cousins. I know a few of you were saying that you still hang out with your cousins, but no, here it's like cousins, not brothers or sisters, because my mom had like 4 sisters and 1 brother. So you think that's like a family of 5 with all the kids as well. That's like 7, 8 kids with like 10 adults, you know, that kind of thing. You can't get that kind of atmosphere because of like the smaller families. Calvin, I just want to shout out to a few people here. Calvin, thank you for the explanation of Chinese opera masks. It's basically among the main methods which performers use as makeup, since all performance is used in representing various human emotions. Exactly, very well said. The frequent on-stage change of facial expressions therefore make opera mask an ideal technique from the website. Oh, cool. This is great. Thank you, Calvin, for that insight. Jocelyn Lincolnshire, still miss Malaysian food. I love Malaysian food. It's one of my favorites. Nasi lemak is like one of my favorites. So good. Let's check out a few of these comments. I can relate to you, May. I can relate to what you're saying. At home, we're still doing that ELA. We still carry out our heritage. That's awesome. Can I come and celebrate in your home Chinese New Year, please? In 2021. I'll wait for the invite. My email is arnold@qumin.co.uk. In case you were wondering.
Hopefully not too many people have not had their lunch. And,
oh, that's true. Yeah, sorry, we keep talking about food. You find that a lot on our live streams. Miley, that's also my memories. Catherine, we stay up all night hanging out with the cousins. Oh, I'm so glad. Like, you guys know, right? The golden age of Chinese New Year. Although it was in the countryside, we have bigger space to explore. Yeah, me too. So when I was really young, my grandparents lived in the countryside as well. And there was like spaces everywhere to explore. I remember we used to just run around like crazy. It was just super fun. Miley, I'm so glad you guys are sharing similar experiences. New York. Malika, I can see CNY being really big in New York. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it's got one of the largest Chinatowns in the world. So absolutely.
This is happening. How do I pronounce his name? Sorry. Kushal Panjali. Cool name. I love it. This is what's happening to all major festivals. No one gets really celebrate. We're all just about preparing the list. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And I really do miss the preparation. And we talk about this. I talk about this a lot. I think the preparation itself, a lot of times, is almost more than the celebration, right? Because that's when you're sitting together, especially in Chinese New Year, you're making dumplings, you're chatting, you're catching up with people that you haven't spoken to for months and months. So the preparation is super awesome.
So we've actually started with from a kind of production point of view, we're probably one of the smaller budget pieces,
yeah.
I would say. We actually have various different mediums of videos we're going to show you. The next one is also an animated piece. But certainly this Barcelona one was on a significantly different budget. I think it probably about a 15th of the budget of the one we're about to see next.
Oh, what we've seen? Oh, Ebb. Yeah, okay, cool. All right. So I think every time we watch this ad, we always feel like there's some like ninjas cutting invisible onions, because we always start to tear up a little bit. And it's not because we're crying, because we don't cry. But anyway, so really great ad. We really love this. I just want to address some of these comments before we get into the actual video. Paulina, you're right. Catherine, you guys are right. It's two-child policy now, actually. So what I was talking about is kind of when I was growing up, and I guess the people who lived through one-child policy are starting families now. But yeah, you guys are 100% right. Is everything in animatic? Is this crucial enabler? What if it doesn't fit your brand? That's a really good question, actually. Tom,
so one of the reasons that we did the Barcelona one in animation was largely budgetary reasons. There was no way we were going to get Lionel Messi to fly to China to shoot a video. Not because he didn't want to, just because the cost of that alone and the insurance policy, I'm sure, would be pretty hefty. And also, if we wanted to shoot it in Spain, there was actually trying to get time and player appearances was impossible. So animation was actually the kind of default way of us doing that. But there's another reason that animation is so popular, is because of the huge love for manga and animated movies in China. So a lot of the younger generation spend most of their time.
I believe last year's biggest grossing film was animated. Not something. Louise and Emily is going to tell you in a minute, because these guys watched that film in the cinema, I think, right? Or was it Louisa, you and Miranda? You made this my story away from home. I'm sure most people are too. You're 100% right. Jinda, stop talking about food. You're making me hungry. But you're right. When I saw that instant noodle, I was like, she knows what's good. I love this ad so much. Yeah, it's such a beautiful ad, right? Really great animation.
You love it for its craft as well. It's
beautiful,
very well produced. The team that did it were, I was saying to Arnold, were ex-Disney, so clearly have been well trained in emotional storytelling.
Yeah, we know the budget for this is about 30 times the budget of that Barcelona video.
Yeah.
Something like that, 30x. So that's a massive difference. But it's such a great insight. Just quickly answer this question: do you see animation in your TV series in China? I think no. I think animation is probably more of a digital thing. I guess, like social media, it's really popular. Miley, the dad put the sign upside down because that means happiness is arriving. You're 100% right. It means.
Fu Dao.
Yeah, Fu Dao. Dao Fu means arriving or coming. Happiness is coming. Chinese love these like play on words, like almost everything is like a bit of a play on words. Should we talk a little bit about the insight from this video? Oh, guys, sorry, before you start, Tom, check out the link, Airbnb case study. You can see it now. Click through to Dao Insights, one of the best websites in the world for keeping up with Chinese creative and marketing industries.
So I guess one of Airbnb's kind of key, I guess, brand value has always been sort of trying to be quite playful and quite easygoing. So the video kind of clearly does that, but also taps into that raw emotion, but it also educates people on the product, which is what I actually really love from a marketing point of view about the video. It's not just putting the product front and center in terms of like part of an emotional story. It's actually showing what it can enable and the kind of places that you could potentially rent out a nice little hutong house. So one of the kind of key storylines there is, obviously we mentioned Fu Dao, which is your luck arriving. So the Chinese word for Dao, which means to arrive, is also the Chinese word for upside down. So when you turn Fu upside down, it means Fu has arrived. So once the child is kind of growing up, not really aware of that and thinks dad is putting it the wrong way up. So at the beginning, it's quite a playful,
so cute
way of introducing the story. But the main crux of the insight there is one that is a huge problem in Chinese society now, and it's been a big topic of discussion the last few years. Is the kind of the urban centers and the amount of volume of hours that people are doing in their jobs. So originally there was a saying which was Jojo Liu, which was 996, which is 9 till 9 every 6 days a week. So the kind of hours that people were doing was actually keeping them from their own mental well-being, health, but also being able to take holidays and go back and travel to see family at Chinese New Year. So Airbnb flipped that on its head, and as a facilitator in somebody not being able to go back to their hometown, they facilitated the parents actually being able to come and surprise their child by actually going in the opposite direction, which was, that's why the piece works fantastically well.
It's really great as well, because not just because the insight is really relevant and a lot of people in China can relate to it, but they've also managed to place a brand in the center of that insight without it being like overwhelming or pushy. And it really does just make a lot of sense when you think about it, right? And that's where great creative really shines. It's like nothing feels out of place. The cultural insight, the brand positioning, and how the brand helps people to have like a better experience in their lives.
Yeah, and you just mentioned to me as well, like with Jojo Liu, that's only getting worse. So I guess it's continued insight. I think now we say 7:15.
Yeah, 7:15 now. 15, I think. Yeah, 7:15 or 15:7 that they call it, which is 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, rather than 9 to 9, or i.e. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So it's just getting worse and worse. I mean, I guess that's the pressure of like a fast-growing economy, right? And Chinese youths experience so much of this pressure, and it's really scary. Laura, I don't know if you will play the Meituan ad, but I really love the emotional triggers. We're not going to play the ad, Laura, because I'm going to cry if we play that ad, and you don't want to see me crying on screen. It's not a pretty sight. But that's actually a great ad. So I'm glad you mentioned it. So Emily, do you mind, or Louisa, linking to that ad on DAO Insights so our audience can watch it in their own time? But get ready, get some tissues ready, and just prepare yourself. And it's just like a really, really amazing ad. Should we watch the next ad?
Yeah, as now we're kind of moving away from the animation medium. So it's not just that particular format that works really well at Chinese New Year. The next ad, the way it's been shot again, it's telling a progressive story of one of the key parts of Chinese New Year, which is the human migration, the biggest human migration every year in the world, where billions and billions of journeys that are happening, where people are traveling in lots of different directions to get back to their families in Chinese New Year. And obviously this year is going to be as challenging as it was last year to do that. But it's such a key part of storytelling for a lot of brands, is that kind of journey. So it's not necessarily Chinese New Year itself. A lot of the storytelling is kind of bringing in that build up, and the next video captures that journey really, really well.
Yeah, this is also very emotional. So mute my mic.
妈，我来。啊，
东西都收拾好了。
收拾好了。 妈，不要了吧，年年带东西，今年怎么还弄了个桶啊？我那儿真的什么都有。
外边的能有家里的好啊？这桶结实，就是提手有点勒。拿着，拿着。
回去吧。回去吧，妈。
哎
哎，富儿，慢点开啊！
放心，
哎，
注意身体啊。哎，师傅，开门，开门。
Well, yeah, I think most of you realize that this is like almost a proper production. The director is really famous, Laura, highlighted earlier. Thank you for that. I saw someone saying, Catherine, this reminds me of my mom. You definitely got the message across. I mean, I think the reason that I love this ad so much is it honestly just reminds me of my mom so much as well. And you know what? It's actually not about what's in the bucket. It's just about the fact that, you know, yeah, I mean, you can see, like, you watch the video and you watch the way that she reacts to her son leaving. Like, she's obviously an amazing actor. You watch the way she reacts to her son leaving, and she just couldn't leave her son, even on the bike. She was chasing after him. At the start, she was kind of like carry on walking. You notice these little things, and you suddenly think back, and I don't know, for me certainly, and I think a lot of Chinese people that are watching this in China, they suddenly think back the moments when their mums, let's call her mums, when their mums are doing the same thing, right? Like, I know when I go back, so I live in London now, and my mum lives in Colchester in Essex, in England, for anyone that knows. It's about an hour and a half drive. So every time I go back to my parents, my mum will always cook loads of food for me when I'm leaving. She'll give me stuff like a box of grapes or like some oranges or some soya milk. And I'll be like, Mom, I can get all this stuff in London. I literally live 5 minutes away from Sainsbury's. But she's like, no, it's better. This is better. Take this. And it's that mentality. And you see that the reason that the mum's giving the son the eggs is because the mum's like, you see the chicken at the start, right? These are organic eggs laid by the chicken on their farm. So the mum's going to be like, these eggs are obviously going to be way better than any egg you can get in the big city. And this is just so reflective, like of the, I guess, the culture of like how close their mums are to their sons in China. Like, the family unit really is the most powerful thing in China, and it stands above the self and the state. And I talk about this a lot. And also just like the urban migration, and all the kids are having to leave their mums or their fathers or their families behind to go work in the city. And it's like, it's really sad moment when that happens, when their kids fly the nest, as they call it. I think it's like an empty nest syndrome when your kids are leaving. And it's just, oh man, like that ad just really is honestly one of my favorite ads ever. And it's not even an ad. Like, there's no point does it mention Apple other than the fact that at the start it says shot on an iPhone, and the end it's got the Apple logo. It's just such a fantastic ad, and they didn't try too hard. And we'll show you an ad later where people just try too hard. And this is a very simple cultural insight, the mother's love. And also just kind of like the details is what I love about this ad. It's like, the fucking eggs, you can get eggs anywhere, but it's not what it's about, right? It's about showing like how much they understand Chinese culture. And you see even the detail of like traveling on a motorbike to the station and then getting the bus, and then also like looking over to that girl in the middle ad and kind of like then looking away because he's really shy. And then you see him like dropping the bucket, and he's like, oh, should I just give up and leave it? You can see him like thinking about it, what's going through his head. And then he goes back, and then he takes it out, and it's like his mum has like painstakingly labeled every egg, put it in sand to protect it, so he has something from home. And the whole thing is about, nothing's like what you can take from home. And people have like sausages and oil and fish and stuff.
I'm sure there's some very, very smart person in Apple that kind of realized that the tradition of an egg a day is equivalent of sort of an apple a day saying that we have here in the West. And obviously it being Apple, they probably went, yeah, that's smart. Let's do the eggs.
Let's do the eggs. It could
have been any food, right? So they've gone for the egg because there is a saying like an egg a day. So hence why they've written the little numbers and everything on them. So it's really smartly done. They used it to launch, I believe, their WeChat channel.
Oh yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was their first WeChat post. We like, it was amazing.
Wow, what a way to launch. But again, the insight there and the character that they've used, and is very much focusing on their target demographic as well. So that that kind of the city dweller of a certain sort of I guess it was millennial age, was exactly what they were going after. So it didn't need any of the kind of extravagant we might see in an ad coming up, because it actually taps into one of those kind of raw emotions and cultural insights.
Exactly. It's just so raw and so beautifully shot, and acting is just spot on. Like,
this is a luxury product. I mean, don't forget, Apple is a luxury product.
Yeah, especially in China.
Nothing in that was luxury except for the way it was produced and the beautiful story. So everything
was so raw. You're 100% right, and that's what made it great. Jocelyn, I remember when I came to UK, my nan gave me a bottle of homemade sambal. Oh, that's so awesome. That's really cool. Paulina, amazing. Just because mama gives it, it's better. That's so true. Like, that's the thing, right? Like, in China, I don't know about, I'm sure it's the same for all of your mums. I think it's the same all over the world, right? Like, mums think their stuff is better when they give it to you, and you can't buy it from anywhere else because it comes with love. And yeah, silent love from Chinese parents, Catherine. So true. Well said.
For me, one of the tips I would certainly give to the people that are thinking about producing their own campaigns is, there is a little bit of a sort of paradigm shift from overproduced big production type content. I think the whole Apple shot by iPhone, yes, they had an incredible film director and it was very well crafted.
Probably like the best in China.
But ultimately, it was a very simple, just well executed story. And I think back to in the UK, we have a big thing about Christmas ads. And every year it's like, okay, what's what John Lewis, for example, going to do? But last year there was a fella in Wales that produced this ad in his house. That became the most talked about, most watched Christmas ad that was produced, and it was purely because it was the simplicity of the emotional storytelling and how it really connected with people, and everybody could resonate with it and go, I see a bit of myself in that ad. And I believe
exactly.
now with the mediums that we're exposed to and the huge volumes of ads that are out there, so thousands of Chinese New Year ads will get created. You really do need to be doing something to set yourselves apart. So that's not just tapping into the emotional stuff, but just going that extra bit further.
There are some ads. I know some. I can't remember who it was. Sorry, someone asked earlier about whether emotional and kind of like tearjerker is the only way to do it. It's not, right? Because we've seen other ads that do like funny stuff or interesting stuff. But I think because there we go, Coco. Thank you, Emily or Louisa. So I think the reason they do the emotional and tearjerker stuff is because Chinese culture is just like a very evocative culture. Like it's very loquacious, it's very evocative, and a lot of it is about family. So like most of the cultural tensions are around like tearjerker, around emotional moments. So that's why it gets happened. But you're right, it gets a bit crowded, but still there's plenty. So for example, I don't know, are we going to show the Nike ad later? I can't remember.
No, we've got Adidas.
Oh, we got Adidas, yeah. So you guys, maybe we can, if we have time, we'll show the Nike ad. If not, we'll show you a link. But that's like a really funny video that also taps on a really important cultural tension in China as well. Always feel the clothing to crash. Oh, wait, sorry, guys. I'm just going to pause this quickly. Wait, I'm just going to pause this because I want to talk to some of you guys. Irene, big fan of that. Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't actually know him that well before I saw the ad. I don't know if you did, Tom, but that's really interesting insight, Irene. His film always focuses on young people from China's rural towns, especially Yangtze River, life struggles in big city. That shows, right? Because that's exactly what this film is about. Is Apple a staple in China? Yeah, I think it's their biggest market, isn't it?
Was you referring to the fruit or the...
The fruit or the brand? The fruit, yes. The brand, probably also yes. So I hope that answers your question. Haha, my mom can't cook. But she will give you like stuff, like cool stuff, right, Ume? Even if she can't cook. She'll buy something and give it to you. Sometimes you go to restaurants abroad and taste very similar. You might have something. That's so true, David. Yeah, 100% I agree. Like, the best thing, like food, I think is one of the best triggers of nostalgia and memory. Like when you eat something you eat as a child, and you often find this, that's the reason certain people like certain food a lot is because they grew up eating that food. Like fried rice is my thing because my nan used to always cook fried rice, 土豆丝, and like all of that kind of stuff. I know Tom loves it as well. But like the food that you grew up eating remind you of the good times and therefore you like it more. It's not just a taste, it's also the feeling that it brings up as well. Louisa, thank you very much for the CNY ad. Guys, after this stream, check out the CNY ads, especially for those who asked whether everything is about tearjerker, because it's not. It's most of them, but you can also do cool stuff without being like a tearjerker ad. So without further ado, we're going to play the Adidas ad. This is probably the most expensive ad that's been made in China that we've seen, especially for Chinese New Year. So enjoy. about it. We actually want to hear what you guys think of that ad. So comments now. Come on, what do you think? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you indifferent? Michelle, I'm going to start a tissue business in China. I think you would do very well with that. I will invest in your tissue business. I'm not surprised with the costs. Yes, Ume. So, there's a poll. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Louisa and Emily. I'm really interested to see what you guys think of it before we start talking about it, because we want to discuss with you guys. I'm not surprised with the cost. Ume, yeah. Like you guys probably recognize everyone in there. They're all super famous. Even Mulan, right? Like the girl who's playing Mulan in Disney's latest live action film. She was in it. And she got that ad after she got cast as Mulan, so her fee would have skyrocketed.
Kind of shallow.
I love it. How do you pronounce it?
Janice.
Janice, yes, kind of shallow. You're 100% right. Beautiful, less captivating Claire. Good point. Well said. It is quite beautiful, actually. I guess cinematography is great. David, honestly, I don't really understand the meaning of this ad. That is exactly what I said when I watched it for the first time. I just didn't understand it. Claudia, no feeling, no meaning. Seems like just throw loads of money. I wish I had that kind of money to throw around in a production.
I mean, it's definitely worth us touching on that money aspect of it as well.
Yeah, because
right?
not everyone has the kind of money that these ads are. Miley, they're all household names on hottest stars. Exactly, they're all household names. Yumi, yep. Harry, interesting focus on football. Again, given what you said about football in China, we can talk about it in a sec. Pusha Panjali, opulent. Oh, I love that word. You're right. He's very opulent. Coco a bit meaningless, not impressed actually. I think the general feeling here, guys, Beatrice looks cool, but the message connected to CNY. That's also a very good point. I'm not sure why that's a CNY ad either. Catherine ad, expensive, weak connection. Cinematography is beautiful, but Paulina, I prefer things with more meaning. I do also too. You got to make me cry or make me laugh, basically. Ideally, not angry. Okay, cool. Let's talk about it. Looks like most of you guys feel like it's a great ad, great cinematography, but maybe it lacks some of the deeper feeling. You know, like advertising is supposed to make you feel something, right? And I think we all know it just felt like that ad didn't really make us feel anything. That's the problem. Yeah, and obviously going down a route of just putting a load of celebrities in any type of advertisement, whether it's a billboard or you see on the subway in China where it's just a big celebrity face, brand name, signature in corner. That has been a pretty strong tactic for big luxury brands, big sports brands in China for a good 20 years. I mean, since Nike first went in, that was their main strategy. It's really interesting now to see how they've had to adapt and change. And yes, they're still very much celebrity led in the work that they've done, but they're also trying to do things in a lot more authenticity. And the challenger brand in China is definitely Adidas. I mean, there is a bit of a gulf there between Nike and Adidas. So it was really surprising for them to just seem to go down the tried and tested route and not try to do things a little bit different to try to carve out some market. No. There goes the iPhone 12. All right, guys, dropped my iPhone 12, no case.
Unfortunately, not into a bucket of sand. But one of the things that we've been seeing a trend in is definitely like there is a certain generation where this celebrity culture, they bought into it so much. But actually in China, there is a bit of a shift with the younger generation actually not I guess, trusting influencers, celebrities as much as they did. So a recent study, 16 to 25-year-olds, 29% of them would actually trust a kind of influencer-led review, whereas that compared to 41% from the previous millennial generation. So the younger people are getting a bit more smart to it and savvy to it. So we're going to probably see a shift in strategies, I think, in ads, because that one clearly doesn't resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, but I think some of you actually made some very good points. Malika said seems really aimed at young people because there's so much going on with the party. And I said, but I think it is, right? It's kind of very Gen Z focused, and maybe we're just too old. Maybe we just don't get it. and we just want to have a good cry. Something else, Irene said, for fans of the celebrities who support this ad and help spread the word. You're 100% right, Irene, actually. There's a massive celebrity worship culture in China, way, way, way more than what is in the West. I guess our response to that is like, do you need to spend that kind of money to get the awareness that this ad had? Maybe not, you know, like this would have cost a fortune, like millions, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, I guess the ROI on it is obviously it's going to get a lot of views, it's going to get a lot of visibility, but at a very expensive time of the year, could they have not done something a little bit more tactical and authentic, and actually generated maybe some more, I guess, community following?
Yeah, like affinity between the brand rather than just pure awareness. And for us, Chinese New Year is best for building affinity because it's like a place, the time where you can really connect with people and leverage those cultural tensions. And I think, yeah, it felt like this didn't happen, but you know, horses for courses.
The one thing I said, there was a lot of red.
There was a lot of red, too much, definitely too much red, if anything. So we're going to move on to our final video, and it's a surprise video. So Tom and I haven't seen this video yet. So we'll get an authentic reaction for you guys. Let's go. What does everyone think?
I'm just glad I'm not the only person that played darts in China. I genuinely thought I was the only one sat in my expat bar drinking pints of Guinness playing darts.
I've never actually. I think I did play darts in China. Maybe it's a big thing now. Maybe darts is big. So most of you don't get it. 57%. If you haven't voted, keep voting. Keep voting. Boom, boom, boom. Tap that vote button. Smash it. Wow. Basically, most of you don't get it. You either loved it or you don't get it. So 25% loved it, 65% don't get it, and 10% hated it. So put your comments in, guys. Let's have a chat about this. David, same feeling as previous one. Malachi, wow, it's sexy, clean. I agree, actually. It's very cool. It's very sexy. It's very clean. Tom was saying in the chat, very Gen Z, and I agree. They like the cool kids, and I want to be in... Oh, Malika, it's so funny. They're like the cool kids and I want to be in their group. Yeah, it's true. They are like the cool kids. Typical luxury category communications. I don't know what Michelle thinks. Are you still in here, Michelle? Tobias, cringe though. Giannis, at first I thought it was outtake from my film. Paulina, love the changes in life, very seductive. So, yeah, okay. However, this will be for people that already know the brand or into fashion, probably the idea. Laura, probably the idea. Okay, I mean, my thought is that actually, initial reaction, I prefer this definitely to the Adidas ad because, like, it doesn't have a storyline, but that's okay. It's like super stylish. At least it's not stereotypical. It's kind of weird and quirky, but in a very stylish way, which is clearly like a fashion category ad, as some of you guys have mentioned. Yeah, that's kind of my initial thought, really. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, Chinese New Year it's a tough time. You kind of have to, as a brand, do something because it's strange not to. It's like not doing something for Christmas in the West. You just wouldn't do it. you definitely want to avoid all the stereotypes in cliches, which they have done. I mean, they subtly got their red filter in there as well, but not too much red. And definitely didn't. There were parts of it where you're just like, yeah, it just seems like a really cool vibing underground club. That they tried to take some of those sort of 1930s stylistic elements that you get from sort of Shanghai and bring them into the cinematography, which I really like. And kind of that was obviously a rich time for Chinese fashion, as is now. So like it did remind me of just going to a really cool club in Shanghai. And,
yeah, it's true.
Like I said, for the target audience, for the people that are going to buy Prada and for Prada, and Prada are doing a lot of great stuff right now, I think people would probably see that in their feed and go, oh, cool.
It kind of like reinforces their brand as being like a cool brand, right? And I think some of you guys are right in here, like Warren, very seductive. I think it's true. It's kind of seductive, right? Like Paulina, Prada seducing us. It's kind of like, it's just like a really cool short that just makes you feel like it's something that's really, oh yeah, someone Dominique is kind of like inside look. That's what you said, Tom, as well. Inside look at private Shanghai crowd. I think you guys are really right. It's really strange, it's quirky, but it's also kind of cool. And yeah, if you're gonna do something, I feel like if you're gonna do something that's not a storyline narrative based ad, then do something like this where you actually do something different rather than just go with the stereotype of like gold and dragon and Chinese dancing. So I think you guys have seen like 2 types of ways you can execute, or 3 types, right? You have animation, you have like narrative, which is kind of animation normally doesn't have narrative. It's almost like music and silent storytelling. Narrative with like real actors, it's more kind of like storytelling, normally have like an angle around the cultural tension. And you have something like Adidas and Prada, which is more kind of like eye candy, but there's 2 ways you can go with that. One is stereotypical and one is kind of more, I guess, more unique, more quirky and more stylistic, more artistic. And
they loaded a lot into that Adidas ad, like a lot of, they had that kind of traditional Chinese tea house. They had Suju football, which is...
They had people walking around with like...
Yeah, there's a bit of kung fu in there. Literally every single thing you could possibly think of. There was dragons, there was gold, red, it was, cheap owls. They threw everything into it, which is where it became a little bit of... just overload of cliche, but they did it in a fun way. I've, by the way, never been to a Chinese nightclub that has that many people dancing on a dance floor. That's not exist. I usually playing dice on the sides, and there's very little space to move around. So if anything, I think the Prada one was probably a more authentic party.
Yeah, exactly. There's some funny said, David, what's the meaning behind the darts game? Jindai had darts, I'd play darts. We don't know. I honestly don't know what the meaning is behind the darts game, but I'm kind of interested to find out. Hattie, is it good to remember the brand gives you loads of space to imagine what is happening and what inside there. I mean, we're talking about it right now quite a lot. Uska, all of them were great. Depends on their target audience. That's true. That's also very well said. Cool. I think that's everything. So guys, check out DAO Insights. So there's a link right now to the Prada 520 campaign. But there's loads of case studies. Louisa, Emily, Miranda, and the team do a great job. We publish 2 cases we publish 2 case studies every week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but also news every single day. And everything we do is translated directly from Chinese. So you will never see recycled content on here from other English sources. Everything we'd like to think we're breaking in terms of case studies and news, focus mainly on the tech, marketing, and creative industries. So if that's what you like, then this is a place for you. Oh yeah, that's a good point, Giannis, actually. They showcase a range of products, clothes, keychains. Maybe the darts are a product from Prada. Maybe. Very well spotted and said, Giannis. Okay, cool, guys. So I think that's it for today. Like, we honestly we could talk to you guys all day about Chinese ads, and there's loads of Chinese ads. Unfortunately, it's been like way over an hour. We're running over, but so guys, we just want to say goodbye and thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys at the next live stream.
Join us January 12th, I think, is the next live stream that we're doing with the China-Britain Business Council. and that's going to be about a month before Chinese New Year. So some more last-minute Chinese New Year tips for any of you guys planning or being involved in campaigns.
Very last minute. Very last minute. Guys, we love you all, and thank you for tuning in. And please stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive, and have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.